Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the DrBicuspid.com podcast. As you well know, if you listen to these podcasts, we love to have authors on to talk a little bit more about their articles, especially the ones that are hitting home with you. And that's why we've got our good friend and regular contributor, Kim McCleskey, back on today. Hey Kim, how are you?
Hey, Kevin, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me
Thank you.
again.
Thanks for being on
Yeah,
and for always kind of letting us know what's going on with the DSOs out there because your articles are always just consumed by our readers, and I really appreciate you doing that for us.
yeah, it's my pleasure.
So your last article, that's what we want to talk about today, or should I say your most recent article, is
Yeah,
one, not your last. We're not done with you, okay?
no, no, we're not done.
But your
Yep.
most recent article I thought was really interesting because you talked about niche practices and how that
hmm
this consolidation wave of DSOs may affect these niche practices. And my
Yeah.
question is, first of all, let's define what niche practices are. And second of all, is it harder to sell a niche practice in today's environment than it would be a normal GP?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a great question, and something that we're coming across more and more and more is, what we have kind of labeled the niche practice. And what that means to us is, generally speaking, this is a GP. This is a general dentist who has found sort of a niche, right, in what excites them, what they love. And a lot of times, they're very complex. Sometimes they're biomimetic or they're sleep, TMD, TMJ, airway practices, or they're, a biological practice. And so those are more niche. They tend to be higher producing in revenue. They tend to be solo, so they don't have associates. I think, in general, they typically don't accept insurance plans, so they're fee for service. I mean, all these things are great, right? Those are all really exciting. I'm very excited to work with them. I love it because they just honed a skill in serving a portion of the patient base and communities that really needs like that level of care. And when we think about specialty, we don't really have those areas of specialty, right? They're not designated. So these are just high producing, very knowledgeable GPs. And yeah, they are a little more challenging, right, to sell for if we're thinking about a DSO and they're considering they love the collection rate for these docs, and a lot of them, it's not uncommon for them to be somewhere between $2 and $4 million in collections with just themselves and maybe a couple of hygienists, right? So they're very high producing. They have really high margins, typically EBITDA margins, and so DSOs take a look at them. But on the flip side, the challenge for a DSO with this type of niche provider is key man risk, right? What would happen if we lost this provider and there's not someone else, within the practice? So there are a lot of challenges with that. And so my article talks about, ways to kind of hedge and position yourself as a provider to make sure that there is opportunity for you should you want to, sort of step into exploring a DSO opportunity. But we have to talk about those things.
We,
Otherwise, it's just going to be like they're really limited with their exit strategy options.
No, and I'm glad you're talking about these things. I think this is a very important topic. And as I read your article, the one thing that stood out to me was that so many of these men and women who have established these niche practices, it's because they have this passion. They believe so
Mm-hmm.
strongly in this. And yet I know they also have to balance that with, as you said, the exit strategy. Even if that's down the road a few years, they still have to be thinking about this is my passion, this is my life, but also taking a step back and realizing it may not be everybody's passion or
Mm-hmm.
desire as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think mostly it's just the risk, right? For an investor. Like that's the hurdle for them is their investment is at risk. And so, I mean, I'm very passionate about it too. You know me, I've been in dentistry forever, and it's been really exciting for me to see how dentistry has evolved and how we're really addressing these issues. So I don't want these niche practices to go away, but they all need to have an exit strategy, right? Like we need to be just having conversation. And honestly, I think we do such an extraordinary job, and that our acumen over here at PTS on valuations and not just, showing you what your EBITDA is and what the value is of your business, but diving in just a little deeper. And we talk about that in the article. Once we do a prospectus for a practice, we're going to take a hard look at really what the options are going to be, what the risks are for, really for them. They need to be positioned. And so we really advise them on how to position themselves for an exit, whether that's to an individual or that's to a DSO. Like we want to help them be prepared to have the best possible financial outcome. And I just think we're doing a great job over here. So, if you're in that, kind of space of, hey, I probably ought to start taking a look at this, reach out to us. Let us do, we'll do that free practice prospectus for you, so you know exactly where you stand. Yeah.
Well, you've teed it up, so go ahead and let them know how they get a hold of you in those next steps, because that's where I was going
Yeah.
anyway. So that's perfect.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I guess we've done this enough now. We know
No,
I'm
let's
in my
call it.
groove with you. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share. And a lot of the listeners have reached out to me. And just through email. So you can reach me through at Kim@professionaltransition.com. You can go to our website, and that's professionaltransition.com. Or you can find me on LinkedIn and reach me there.
And I can tell you from firsthand experience, Kim is not only a wealth of knowledge, but she's great to just have in your circle. So, Kim, I'm very thankful you're in my circle as well as those of the DrBicuspid.com readers. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Likewise, too.
Absolutely. And hey, thanks to all of you for listening. We love to bring on these authors, talk about those articles. So make sure you're checking out DrBicuspid.com at every chance. We have new articles coming up every day. And a lot of times these inside looks with the authors as well. Till next time,
It's
Kevin
awesome.
Henry, editor in chief for Dr. B, signing off. Wish you nothing but success.